What's up guys, the Snowman here, and today I want to go over the grass court schedule for both the men's ATP side and the women's WTA side. Pretty much stays the same, the schedule of events from calendar year to year. There's not a whole lot of grass events. Certainly it's a shorter season than the hard court schedule and the clay court season. So we'll start with the men though, going over the most important tournaments of the grass court season. So as we pull up this list of grass court events on the men's ATP side, you'll notice a couple of things. First off, there's really not that many tournaments. It's just a 5-week window here, our grass court schedule, coming off of Roland Garros. And you'll also notice it's between early June to mid-July. That is when the grass court schedule takes place. So we're coming off the French Open. Week 1, we've got a couple of 250 events, one in Stuttgart, the Mercedes Cup, also a tournament in the Netherlands, the Libema Open. And something you should know about these grass court events, the big names do show up more to the 250s on grass because there are so few tournaments, especially the grass court specialty players. Guys like Roger Federer, he is a regular at the tournament in Stuttgart, just won it in 2018. So guys will come to these events because there's so few opportunities to play on grass. So two 250 level events to open up the first week of the grass season. Then it's an even bigger week come week number 2. We've got a couple of 500 level events. The Fever Tree Championships, also better known as Queen's Club in London. Also have the tournament in Halle. Speaking of Fed, he's won the tournament in Halle 9 times. That is a record. So that's a big week in mid-June. Late June is kind of a rest week as guys prepare for Wimbledon. We've got 2 more 250 level events, one in Turkey, one in Eastbourne. And then in early July comes the big one, Wimbledon, the Grand Slam, the third Grand Slam of the calendar year. Over $13 million on the line for both the men's and women's fields, single fields. $2.3 million for the winners on the line, and that just increases every single year. And for all these other grass tournaments, the 6 other grass tournaments on this schedule right here, 32 players are involved, but of course for Wimbledon it's a Grand Slam, so 128 players at the championships there. And yes, it's just a 5-week snapshot here. Then it's a pretty slow July as we ramp things up then in August with the hard court swing, but grass court season, this is it. It may be a lot less than you think it is. It's certainly a sprint, not a marathon. Now as we turn to the women's, the WTA grass court schedule, you'll notice it's even more compact than the men's. We're coming off Roland Garros, and in early June, we have a couple of international events. Remember, the rankings for the women's tournaments, not as simple on the men's side as it's 1,500, 250. For the women, the ranking is Premier Mandatory, Premier 5, Premier International. So these are smaller events, one in Nottingham, the Nature Valley Open, and the women are with the men at the Libema Open in the Netherlands. So they're both together. They already had an earlier tournament in Stuttgart on clay, so that's why they don't have the Mercedes Cup with the men in Stuttgart. Then in week 2, mid-June, just one event. This is more of the rest week for the WTA grass court calendar. Just one event, an international level tournament in Mallorca, the Mallorca Open. Then in week 3, a lot of the top players will play at this event in Eastbourne. It is a premier level event, and it's the biggest grass event on the women's calendar outside of Wimbledon. And then finally, weeks 4 and 5, all the WTA players will be at the Wimbledon Championships at the All England Club. Tons of prize money, tons of points on the line, and that is, of course, a Grand Slam level event. So yeah, the grass court schedule, very simplistic, not quite as convoluted as the clay schedule or, of course, the hard court schedule. Just as a summary, remember, on the men's side, there's a couple of bigger events. Queen's Club, a 500 level event, and Halle in Germany. Those are the 2 500s. Then on the women's side, Eastbourne is the premier event, so a lot of the top players show up to that. And of course, to cap off the grass season, we do have the Wimbledon Championships. But yeah, if you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Snowman Sports Media. Give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, yeah, hit me up. I'll be back very soon. Cheers.